About him, that I've heard about him almost all my life. Everywhere you go, Edwin Clark, Delta Edwin Clark, Lagos Edwin Clark, my parents Edwin Clark, Clark, right from when we were young. And I was thinking, how do you describe such a person or even begin to talk about him? Then I came across an article which expressed everything I wanted. And I just thought I would share it with you. I don't know if you have come across it, but it just says everything that I want to say about the person. We all remember the old poem when we were growing up called The 6 Men of Hindustan, who were blind, who went to see an elephant so that each would know what an elephant is like. 6 blind men of Hindustan. Of course, they went to the elephant. One of them touched the tusk. And so, wow, because he couldn't see the rest, of course, of the elephant. And he said, the elephant is very like a spear. The other one touched the stomach of the elephant, of course, big and huge. And he rubbed it and said, the elephant is very like a wall. Another grabbed the tail and said the elephant is very like a rope. And so on and so forth. So each one of them, as they were going back, were arguing with each other. One said the elephant is like a tusk. The other one said, no, it's a wall. The other one said, no, it's like a rope. Arguing on and on and on. But no one actually had the full picture. The same thing with the person we're talking about today. Depending on what side of him you touched. If you touched the hat, you saw the Joe man. If you touched his shoes, then the Shakiri man. You touched his hands, then the Robo man. You touched his left, he's an Ijo man. He's a United South, Delta, pure and to the core. So it actually depends on what side of him you touched. Now this article I'd like to share with you epitomizes everything. It starts, we cannot describe Chief Edwin Clark in one episode. Like the divided opinion of those who touch different parts of the elephant, many similarly describing in very many ways that divergent views representing the many parts of him. In the Niger Delta, every ethnic group regards Clark as a leader, a fearless crusader, educationist, philanthropist, legal luminary, the conscience of the South, a politician with track records of service, and a national colossus whose sense of unity is anchored on true federalism. He is also viewed as an anti-corruption crusader who prefers justice to compromise, and that is why he abhors injustice against the minority of Nigerians. He was born on the 25th, and he celebrated his 95th birthday, the last 25th of May. 96th birthday on the 25th of May. Okay, now they tell us the chairman of the occasion is here, so I can't go through all of this article as I would have loved to, because it really captures everything about the person whose book we're going to review. But without wasting the time of our chairman who has arrived, it's my pleasure to call on Chief Philip Asiobi and Senator Anthony Adefuye, the chairman of the occasion, sir. Senator Anthony Adefuye. At the same time, we'd like to recognize the presence of Yemi Olakunleyin, representing the Dangote Group. representing Alhaji Aliko Dangote, the Dangote Group. Thank you, sir. Not forgetting, he who makes a lot of waves wherever he goes, Dr. Dakuku Peterside, former Director General of NIMASA. Dr. Dakuku Peterside.
For this event, you will agree with me that the planning committee have done a lot to bring together dignitaries, to bring together distinguished guests like this, to bring together legal juveniles, distinguished scholars, and great men and women of honor. I'd like to invite to the platform Professor Hope Ehaga, the chairman of the Book Presentation Committee, Lagos, to give us the welcome address. Can we please make welcome Professor Hope Ehaga, a man who makes great things happen, a great man who has put peace together in Lagos State. We honor you, recognize you, we appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, I wondered whether I was the one she was introducing. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The chairman of this occasion, Senator Anthony Edwin, you're welcome, sir. Our guest of honor, Adebanjo, is on his way here. Our royal father of the day, who is ably represented here, Oba Riwanu Babatunde Akeolu, and all distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I can see persons from different groups, professions here, and from politics to the industry. We welcome you. We're indeed honored as members of the local organizing committee to have you here today. It's been a long time. We started getting this ready, and we are delighted that you have responded to our invitation. Today we are presenting Senator Ike Clark's book, Brutally Frank, to the public in Lagos and the Southwest. It had been launched in Abuja, but today we are presenting it here, and then we do hope that we all at least get a copy before we leave here today. So our target is to ensure that buy a copy, or you buy copies for different organizations to honor the political giant who we are honoring today. Well, Papa isn't here today, but he's watching us. He's here with us in spirit, virtually, not in spirit in the other sense. Papa is well and alive. He's in Abuja and is watching online. At the appropriate time, perhaps to speak to us. He shows his appreciation. Thank you for responding. We're also sorry that we started late, but we will make up for it. This book is an intervention in the politics of Nigeria. You need to read it. I am amazed by his ability to recall detail from 70 years ago. He mentions names. My mind was blown by the very first chapter, where he traces genealogy. Great-grandfather, all the many wives and the children, the ancestry, all the linkages in the Zor, in Orobo, in Shekiri, everywhere. Fantastic memory. Please, let's give him a round of applause. In fact, for those who still remain, you don't need to listen to him. I high records incidents of 51 years ago with the precise date, time, sometimes. Now, I do hope when I get to that age, I'll still be able to recall when I was at home. Well, biographies are a way of recording both personal and national experiences, sometimes how they intersect, and we need them. He was involved right from when he became a commissioner in Midwest State under Brigadier Edwin. He was a commissioner for education, finance, and then he federal commission time for information. And the way he got involved in national affairs beyond that time, you know, becoming a spokesperson for the South, a spokesperson for the South, a man of candor. He says it as it is, indeed. The book, Brutally Frank, is brutally frank about politics and governance in Nigeria. And if you want to get those details, I encourage you to buy this 668-page book. How was he able to put them together? We're told he's been working on this for the last 10 years. It's as if he knew 70 years ago that someday he was going to record his experiences. I look at letters that were written from the 1950s, they're all intact and it's made in public. So I want to welcome you, and I'm sure you have a nice time here. We'll move with some speed. Thank you very much. May I now invite the chairman of the occasion today, Senator Anthony Edwin. I'm sorry there was a mix-up earlier. Please let's put a round of applause. Hands up! Hands up! It's not that enough. Why do you move? Hands up! Hands up! Did I say to you? Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome everybody here today on behalf of our party, Senator Edwin Clark. He's a nationalist. And if you look around you here today, you'll find a lot of us from different political foundations. That is Edwin Clark for you. The fact that you don't share the same political ideology with him doesn't make you his enemy and doesn't make you a bad person. When we started, his intention was to put the whole South together, the West, the South, and the Southeast. And he performed very well in putting us together. Nobody has done as much as he has done to put the South together. I stand to say so and to challenge anybody who says he has done more than him. So if all of us have to do what we are doing today to honor him, I think he deserves that one. So let's give Edwin Clark another rise of applause. Now, at 96, he's still working. That is Edwin Clark. And this is a man, if you go to his house any time of the day, you are welcome. And it's not only that you are welcome, you will find quite a lot of people there who are either seeking assistance, seeking knowledge, or seeking political association. He is a man Nigeria will not forget very quickly. We will always remember Chief Edwin Clark. The people before me, they have said so many things about Chief Edwin Clark. But I want to say something that most of you should not forget. The national conference, known to so many people, Edwin Clark was the brain behind the national conference. he put together all Nigerians so that we can be one. We can be all Nigeria. And we all sat down at that national conference and arrived at certain decisions. If those decisions have been adopted, Nigeria will not be where it is today. It is not easy to put Nigerians together to come and discuss their future. But Chief Edwin Clark did this, and it was a successful gathering. Even though the decisions at that time were not wholly accepted, or they were not sent to the National Assembly before the president at that time left office. But you will find out that most of the decisions in the agreement we reached at the conference are being used today. If you go to the Senate, if you come to an agreement, just look at the decision of the conference, you find out the source of that agreement is. I think we need another man like Edwin Clark. I hope we will come quickly. Edwin Clark, as I said, is a nationalist. He will have launched this book in Abuja. He's not looking for money. He's not looking for fame. Say Edwin Clark today, every Nigerian knows who he is. He just gave me a phone call. So, there's going to be a book launch today. There's going to be. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't sleep anymore because I was so excited. Why me? Why me? So that is the man Edwin Clark for you. So if you have come here today to honor him, you are really doing a great service to a man who deserves honor. Thank you and welcome all of you to the
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can we please put our hands together once more for the They tell us that the best speeches are those that are made without a script. That is only when you know that people are speaking from their hearts and not from their heads. So thank you very much, Chairman, for that heartfelt comment on E.K. Clark, whose resume I was trying to share with you earlier on. Thank you very much, Chairman, and I'm sure if people read that book, I think their perspective about Nigeria will change. You know, because it is a book written from the heart. And, you know, intimately you begin to see how people like E.K. Clark thought and all the events that shaped Nigeria, as it were, to where we are now. Thank you so much, sir. While he was giving his speech, some very distinguished people were coming in. In fact, when we were growing up, these are some of the names we never ever tired of hearing on television or radio. And they all seem to be so much larger than life. One of them was Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, former Minister of External Affairs, sir. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, sir. We hope you still have that your vituperous way of approaching issues that always shook the nation when you spoke. Thank God you never regretted it. Thank God, sir. Nice to see you. We also have in our midst Chief Bode George. Chief Bode George. Dr. Fawale representing Chibode George. Is that it? Please, Dr. Fawale, are you here with us? So, thank you. And it's a pleasure to also announce among us Chief Kofo Bokno Akerele, former Deputy Governor, Lagos State. And my pleasure to announce also somebody I spoke about only a week ago, who is now the chairman of Nigeria's most vibrant interventionist agency, the NDDC. It is my honor to introduce Honorable Chedu Edwin. Okay.
Thank you once again. The next item on the agenda is the speech by the special guest of honor. And the special guest of honor for today's event is Professor Wole Soyinka. However, he shall be represented by Chief Denzel Kentebe. Chief Denzel Kentebe is a member of the Ijaw Elders Forum. Can we please make welcome Chief Denzel Kentebe to deliver the speech by the special guest of honor for today's event.
Good morning. I'd like to stand in existing protocol, please. You can imagine my surprise this morning when I was told I had to read the message from Professor Soyinka. And I wasn't scared of the people in the hall here, but I was wondering where he is sitting down watching me, listening to my diction, my pronunciation, and everything that has to do with the English language. I'm trying to see if my hair has gone grey. I have no hair. But the Prof is not able to be here with us, and he sends this message to our club. It is with great personal disappointment that I finally concede my inability to join you at this event. The Clark family and I, as you know, are linked on several levels, and it would have given me great pleasure to deputize for my late colleague and brother, J.P. Clark, welcoming the patriarch himself on this belated entry into the literary ranks. Even without the ferocious promise of the title, I know that this will be one book launch the nation will not forget in a hurry. I cannot wait to read how it tackles some of the history of a society along whose fault lines we have occasionally interacted directly and indirectly, but of course the nation has been treated to more than a rich foretaste in past years. A warm welcome nonetheless, a formal entry, dear Chief, Senator, and Elder, Gadfly to the literary arena. Thank you, Professor Wole Soyinka.
Thank you very much, Denzel Kentebe. I'm sure that if Wole heard you say what he said now, he will probably have one or two words to say, short and succinct, but to the point. You know, a man of letters. Thank you so much, Kentebe himself. I'm sure that if he also was invited to an event, he would not hesitate to have somebody representing, because he's a luminary in the South, particularly among the Jaws, having been one of those who have been spearheading all the activities of the Ijaw National Council. And he, as you can see, put together this for our great leader, E.K. Clark. And this is someone who feels the pulse of the Niger Delta, the pulse of the South. And if you look at the pores of the South Side, it's not actually different from each of the ethnic groups. What the Yoruba man feels, the German feels. What the German feels, the Shekiri man feels. And this is why E.K. Clark, as we say, is United Niger Delta, all put into one. So thank you very much. Now, the main cause of the reason we're here, the book launch itself, about the man whose thoughts we're going to share. Earlier on, I was trying to go through some of what somebody wrote about him, which I thought actually just epitomized everything I would like to say on him. And since it was interrupted, I would like to finish it so you can see the kind of person we're talking about. The man E.K. Clark, legendary agitator of the South-South cause and a legendary cause hero, as it were. The article said, a reincarnated Chief Bekederemo of blessed memory, his native Delta state. Bekederemo was his great-grandfather, a wealthy merchant who took up battles on behalf of the poor. He reduced prices of commodities and had several conflicts with Dore Numa. Bekederemo had a steamship and, according to National Archives, built a palace as a big and comparable to the palace of the Oba of Benin. That edifice is still standing, as they say, today. Clark's grandfather, Foludo Bekederemo, was also a man of substance, a warrant chief, a politician of note who attended the Western Region Chiefs Conference in 1941 in Ibadan. Foludo Bekederemo gave birth to Chief Clark Foludo, father of Edwin Clark. He became a wealthy merchant who traded in several coastal cities in the tradition of the family business and was involved in community service and politics as a councillor. He rose to be a customary court judge of appeal in Bomadi. Chief Clark Foludo understood early the importance of educating his own children, and he made sure that everyone got the sort of education that would make them relevant in the national field. And we can see today that the foresight of the father of E.K. Clark has shown in everything he's done, particularly when you read the book. Sure. Okay. Okay, so who's going to do it now? Who is going to do it? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one fact we forgot, that this event is being carried live on Arise Television, and you can tune in on arise.com and get the detail and follow everything that is happening. And that's just to also tell everyone present that you are on TV. So behave yourself. Is he around? So you can see behind me what technology can do. Chief Clark himself is going to address us via Zoom. And so please, can we put our hands together for elder statesman, a man of colors, Chief Dr. E.K. Clark, OFR, CON. A man of colors, Chief Dr. E.K. Clark, OFR, CON.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be with you, even though I'm far away in Abuja. Firstly, let me express my profound gratitude to Mr. Chairman, Senator Dipoyi, to the various guests of honor who are here today. I'm indeed very, very grateful. What do I say? That within a short time, all my friends, all my associates, all my colleagues have become complete within a short time, gathered at the museum center to honor me. What else do I want in life? Give glory to God. Thank God for everything He has done for me in my life. But what will I say? You have already been told by various people. All that I can say is to express my profound gratitude to you all, particularly when the book was launched for the first time in Abuja at the International Conference Center, which was attended by a crowd that could not be managed. Mr. President was there through his secretary to the government, who was the special guest of honor. The only official, as a Royal Majesty, the Emir of Kano, the Sultan of Sokoto, and so many others, H. the third chief, the Oroki of Okpe, etc. King Jeter's people, they were all there. It was even Mrs. Abacha, the first lady, and his son, Mohammed, they were there. What else do I want? It was a glorious occasion, signifying that, yes, I am amongst my people. In Nigeria that I always cherish, where everybody is equal, where we are equal citizens. You can rise to any position you want in Nigeria. But if that is not there, then there is no Nigeria. We want a restructuring of this country. And this you will see in my book. I've spoken so much about restructuring. The former president of the country said once that corruption must be killed, otherwise corruption will kill Nigeria. That's what President Buhari said. Then I said, we must restructure Nigeria. Without any restructuring, there will be no Nigeria. And I think everybody in Nigeria believes today that restructuring is the order of the day. It has been accepted by everybody. Even those who were hesitating now realize that they will do better if they are in their own state, with more power, moving at their own pace, developing at their own pace, and paying money to the federal government to maintain its own services. Today, for no reason, the president of Nigeria is the most powerful president in the country, but very ineffective because we have no constitution. The constitution is a military one, not made by Nigerians. But today is not the day. Read my book, you see what everything I said to. The question has been asked, how did I come with the title Brutally Frank? I'm not a violent person. It is not meant to condemn people. But for 70 years, from the First Republic to today, I have participated in every aspect of this government of Nigeria. And I feel that I should write a book. Everything I know about my family, let people know where I come from. This man, he has been talking the truth, speaking. What is his background? I think that's why I went to town to talk about my family, where I come from, where I'm going. Now, when I was 90, one of the messages I received was from my boss, General Yakubu Gowon, when I was Minister of Information in his government. At 90, he sent me a congratulating message. And part of it was Chief Edwin Clark, EK I called him, is a very, very forthright Nigerian lawyer. And he speaks his mind on any subject. He is brutally frank. So I took that as the title of my book. I would not say it was my invention. No. I took it from the message of congratulations given to me by my boss. And I've also written what people say about me. You will see all that in the book. But once again, I want to say, give glory to the Almighty God and to thank you for leaving your various rooms this morning to give me this honor. God will be with you. God will guide you. God will protect you. And whatever whatever you desire, God will grant it. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, our father, Baba Chief Clark. I was thrilled when I discovered that General Yakubu Gowon described him as the backbone of his administrative team years ago. So, once again, I recognize and honor our father, Chief Clark, a man from a rich heritage. You know, few men leave legacies, but this man is living legacies. He's a living legend. You agree with me? All right. At this point, we would like to take goodwill messages. And the first goodwill message for today's event shall be taken by Professor Anya O. Anya. Can we please make welcome Professor Anya O. Anya to give the first goodwill message for today's event? Can we please keep the applause rolling? Can we please keep the applause rolling? You have the floor, sir.
So what am I? What do I do? Say a few things.
No, it's the goodwill message.
Okay. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, history is not made in one day. And that is why the phenomenon called E.K. Clark has built up the formidable reputation and network that is guiding our nation even today. We listened to him a moment ago at 96. Many 80-year-olds, some 60-year-old cannot speak with such passion. I came across Edwin Clark at the national conference. And that was when I now discovered that you cannot describe him in one or two sentences because the man is multidimensional. But one thing you cannot take away from him is the fact that he loves this country. And he works with all Nigerians. Yes, he'll be frank and tell you his views, but he's the first to admit that you have a point. The national conference has been mentioned. I am confident that one day that report will be fully implemented. And the reason is simple. People do not know that the takeoff point of the decisions, there were over 600 decisions, over 600. And every single one enjoyed the support of more than 70% of those attending. Would you really think it was possible to have Nigerians gathered as we were gathered, and all decisions enjoyed 70% support? You wouldn't have thought it was possible, but it happened. And that is why I believe that ultimately we'll find our way back. So let me also congratulate I call him my father, Edwin Clark. He is a phenomenon that we must thank God for giving us, and particularly what he did with education. After the war, you wouldn't have thought the roles he played would allow him lead Bermudia's government to the University of Nigeria. Some of the first tables and chairs and so on that we had in the University of Nigeria to start work again in that university. I was in the University of Nigeria for 37 years. So he is the one that gave us the confidence to start a second time. Finally, let me say this to the young generation. Do not lose confidence in Nigeria. Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria is a destined country. It will get to the point where, as some of my spiritual advisors tell me, Nigeria will be celebrated for righteousness. Nigeria will be celebrated around the world for righteousness. This period that we are seeing now is not Nigeria. When I tell some of the younger people my experience in Nigeria, they don't believe that a Nigeria that I was describing, that I have lived, existed. But it did exist, and because it did exist, we will return. Thank you very much. And our father, Edwin Clark, is one of those who continue to reaffirm by his life, by his contributions, that truly a great Nigeria is possible and will happen. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. It's nice to hear from people who are contemporaries of our celebrant today. They know more about these issues and they can dare talk about them, but we can't. Thank you so much, sir. Now, the next speech we have, the message of goodwill. We'd like to call on the representative of the Oba of Lagos, Chief Ahmed Akashoro, to please give us His Royalties, His Royal Highness's response. We come to you where you are.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings to the whole audience and the elders seated here. I am Chief Ahmed Olaribi Akasho, the Ashoko of Lagos, the head of Ababa class of our chiefs. I'm representing the Oba of Lagos. Chief Edwin Clark is well known to me as a young boy. In those days when he and Chief A.B. Osula were living in Falulu Street. My daddy's house is the next house from Chief A.B. Osula, who was then the chairman of Daily Times. And they're having a very nice time at that time, dancing to Chicago music. As a young boy, we start picking at them. And today, it's an old man. My daddy died as a contender of Lagos State. And I'm happy to see him giving a good testimony of what he has done so far. On behalf of Oba of Lagos, he came back yesterday evening and he said I should be here. And I know he's giving a very good, very long life and most prosperity. He has done a lot. I've read about him when we were a very young boy. In those days, we were reading about the drums, newspaper, that drums, at that time, very in the 60s. And has been doing fine. And he's still doing the same thing. What else can I say about him? he is going to live long and he's left behind a good legacy. For us, at our own age, at 68, in fact, I still cherish him because as one very true person, that's never changed. On behalf of the Oba of Lagos, I think they'll speak together. My regards to him. Long life, sir. Cheers.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, a while ago we announced that the Arise TV is on DSTV. Arise TV News is on DSTV, channel 416. Also, it's on GoTV, channel 444. And Arise TV Live is on YouTube. We'd like to recognize Chief Dr. Mrs. Ubeku. That's the leader of the West African Women Association and her team. Can we please recognize, applaud Chief Mrs. Ubeku and her team. We welcome you, ma'am. We welcome you, madams. We also like to recognize the presence of Senator Musili Obanikoro. Senator, you're welcome, sir. Thank you, sir. At this time, we'd like to take the next goodwill message from Chief Philip Asiodu. Chief Philip Asiodu. Can we please get a microphone to him? Chief Philip Asiodu. Okay. We honor you, sir.
All right. I'm very delighted to be here today. I received a call from Chief Edwin Clark that the book will be launched today in Lagos. Having been launched in Abuja. I first met Chief Edwin Clark socially in Lagos. Later on, became a member of General Government's Federal Administration. I was one of the permanent secretaries who used to attend council meetings. And I know Chief Clark was always outspoken, always frank. I didn't know General Gowan would describe him as brutally frank. Well, well, that's the title of the book. Good. And in cabinet, he performed very well. And I remember that earlier on, when there was the second coup in 1966, and Nigeria was tethering on the brink of disintegration. He was one of the delegates, or one of the people in the Midwest who helped to save the situation, because people were talking about confederation, of breaking away, and so forth and so on. And I remember that the Midwest delegation, comprising Tony Nauru, people like Tayo Akpata were in the background, helping to make sure that the Midwest still stood for an effective federation. And he contributed a great deal to that. And we are grateful because God has blessed this country enormously with natural and human resources. It will be a great pity if we wasted it. And we still pray. When we were young, we read Renaissance Africa. And we still pray that Nigeria, using its enormous resources and a unique geographical position, will be able to play the role which he dreamt about in the vanguard of African Renaissance and the restoration of respect for the black race. Because there is no other combination of resources and population controlled by black people, which could be globally significant. And so Nigeria has a great duty, and it has been one of the persistent advocates for a Nigeria under a secular state with freedom of religion for individuals, playing its proper role and helping to make sure that the degradation which came with the slave trade is changed. When we are told the Greeks first encountered black people, they thought the black civilization was at least equal, if not superior to theirs. How we came to this colonization, and before then, the Atlantic slave trade, is really a great tragedy and must be corrected. And we're looking forward to reading his book, and I'm sure that we remember him as one of those who contributed to making sure that Nigeria survived to play its role in Renaissance Africa. I'm glad that at 96, he still speaks vigorously. He's still acknowledged as the leader of the South-South, and I wish him many more years of, and that is true because on the table on which I sit in Metropolitan Club, the late Akintola Williams, who went at 104, was at lunch with us 2 weeks before then. So I wish him continued good health. And when I go next to Abuja, I shall call on him. Thank you very much for all of you coming here to honor him, to participate in this book launch. Good.
Thank you once again, sir. All right now we'd like to recognize the presence of Otumba Isaac Emiyede, the chairman of Cross River, Rivers State, Edo State, Delta State, Akwa Ibom, and Bayelsa State branches of the CREDAP Association. We honor you, sir. All right, we also like to recognize the presence of Chief Mrs. Bolajoko Doherty, the national president of the Dynamic Women International Association, and her team. Alaja Gbadamosi, Princess Kemi Ibironke, Mrs. Shola Akiosha, Mrs. Kike Dada, Chief Mrs. Khadija Olorunda, Princess Anna Ajetumobi, and Princess Dupe Ajayi Gbadebo, all leaders of the Dynamic Women International Association. Can we please keep the applause rolling from these women? Thank you, Maz, for standing up to grace this occasion. We honor you. We appreciate your presence. All right, at this time, we'd like to take the next goodwill message, and that will be delivered by our mother, Chief Mrs. Kofo Bokno Akerele, the former Deputy Governor of Lagos State. Can we please take a microphone to our mother? We honor you, Ma. We're pleased to have you in our midst today.
I am greatly honored to be here today. I have known the Clarks for over 50 years. We have been friends. Chief Clark is an activist. You might wonder why I'm saying he's an activist at 95 years of age plus. But he was with us in the trenches when we were fighting for the restoration of democracy in Nadeku. He might not have been on television, but he was behind us. You have heard how he has brought all the southern states together. Not only has he done that, but he has brought us together in the hope that this country will be restructured. He has always spoken about the present constitution, that it is not our constitution, it is a military constitution. And therefore, he's always wanted restructuring. He, in fact, was one of the highlights of the 2014 Constitution, a conference of which I was a part. His house has always been open to everyone. He has brought not only the South together, he has also managed to bring the Middle Belt into the fold so that everybody is now clamoring for the same thing. Chief Clark, you have been a hero for many of us. You have actually led the way. And may God continue to give you good health. I know that your mental faculties will never fail you. And we thank you for trying to restructure this country so that we can all have a better Nigeria where we can all live a fruitful and honorable life. We thank you very, very much, and God bless you again, Chief Clark.
Thank you, Ma. We honor you, Ma. I remember in those days when Mommy was the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, active woman, active, smart. When you see her on TV, you say, who is this Amazon? We honor you, Ma. All right, at this point, I'd like to take another goodwill message from Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. Can we please keep the applause rolling for Professor Bolaji? Can we please take a microphone to Professor Bolaji Akinyemi? We're honored to have you, sir.
Okay. Like Chief Philip Asiojo, about a month ago, I got a call from Abuja, and it was Chief Clark who played the chess game with me. He started off by saying, I invited you to the launching of my book in Abuja and you didn't come. I said, Papa, you couldn't have done that. If you had done that, I would have been there. He said, well, all right, don't let us argue. We are going to launch the book in Lagos. Now, what else could I have said at that point except to say, I will be there to honor you. I have known the Clarks for a long time, but not the chief. I've been close to the professor. The late professor was his brother, and I have been close to Ambassador Clark, again, his late brother. And so to that extent,
I could lay a claim to knowing the chief vicariously. But what finally sealed the relationship, as people have said, was the 2014 National Conference. And I still remember the chief on that front row. What struck me by the second week of that conference was that the chief was never late. Never. He was always there. One of the four, he was never late. And that allowed our chairman, Justice Kutige, to use him as an example to the younger ones who were coming halfway through the conference. I don't know how many times he led delegations to my office as the deputy chairman to iron out conflicts that were brewing. I agree with all Professor Anya said about his role at that conference, about how he didn't give up on principles, but he succeeded through tactics and through strategy in always smoothing out conflicts that were brewing between the South and the North. They were there. And so he takes the credit for the fact that that conference did not break up. One of the things that I will say here today, which I haven't said in any other place, was that we had to give a commitment to President Jonathan that there will be no walkout in that conference. It was not that the president was not committed to the conference, he was. But what bothered him was how it was all going to be arranged that the conference will be a success. And we gave him a commitment that the conference will be a success, that there will be no walkouts, and that there will be no conflicts that we wouldn't be able to resolve. Who are the we who gave him that commitment? That would be a story for another day. Already to my left, I have seen my dad. Now, when I say my dad, I really mean my dad, because Pa Ayo Adebanjo and my biological father were members of the action group in the 50s. And he also was a member of the 2014 National Conference. And I also know the role that they played. You know, when you think of the important people in this country who managed to steer that conference to the point where, by consensus, we were able to adopt all our resolutions, Pa Ayo Adebanjo will take credit for one of the things that happened. So, you know, we mix our culture. So I don't know, because when I just say, oh, okay, Chief E.K. Clark. I should be calling him Papa E.K. Clark. And then somebody will say, but you are not an Ijaw, so why are you calling him Papa? But I will call him Papa E.K. Clark. I congratulate you. I wish you a long life to continue to mentor not just the young ones, but those like us who are still following your footsteps. Congratulations, sir, for today.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at one point, if you heard about Nigeria, it was through his thoughts and his words. Professor Bolaji Akiyemi has been with us for a long time, and from the way he's sounding, he's not giving up yet. Please, can we give a round of applause to him? Well, as we were speaking, one of our very important guests strolled in, shall we say, one who carried the Yoruba fight in his own head, and he refused to let go, no matter what happened to him. And today, I don't know what verdict he would give to know whether his fight has been worth it or not. So we're going to meet with him later on. But now we have two young executives to give their own, as it were, advice and show their goodwill to us. And these are people who are deeply involved in the Niger Delta project and who have benefited in some way from being given positions to prove that. One of them is Dakuku Peterside, whom we now call to come and give us his goodwill address. The former chairman of NIMASA. But you see, they run well.
Good afternoon, Chairman of today's occasion, our own father, Senator Defuye. Fathers in the House, Your Excellencies, I've seen a lot of my uncles here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, I am sure that the only reason why I've been invited to speak is because I'm a young Ijaw son, a proud Ijaw son. And this book presentation is in honor of our father. We already know that Chief E.K. Clark is an extraordinary scholar, encyclopedia of knowledge, patriot, politician, leader, father, mentor, and indeed, the champion of restructuring based on equity, fairness, and justice. He's among the few that survived the tempest that is Nigeria. But that's not what makes Chief E.K. Clark great. He is today a national icon, symbol of democracy, extraordinary leader. On the strength of his example and a cocktail of courage, wisdom, resilience, and patriotic spirit. Chief E.K. Clark is not just a father to those of us who are just boys and girls. He's a father to all Nigerians who believe in justice, equity, and a great Nigeria of possibilities. He has been in the struggle forever and will remain in the struggle. He has brought intellectual flavor to the struggle for a better Nigeria. He's not just in the struggle with a militant spirit, but with a militant intellectual spirit. Pa Ike Clark is leaving and will soon leave us after maybe the next 20, 30, 40 years. The challenge is that I can't see clearly a successor generation. For me, that's the challenge. He has bequeathed to us a lot of legacies. I don't know those who will carry on with his struggles for a better Nigeria. I look around, I've not seen many men of courage and wisdom, men of intellect, men who are selfless, men who are devoted to the national cause. He's called an Ijaw leader. True, but he's more of a Nigerian leader than an Ijaw leader. He has fought national causes, not necessarily South-South causes. It is just that South-South causes are interwoven with Nigerian causes. What he has fought all his life are Nigerian causes. As you have heard testimonies of his battles at the 2014 Constitutional Conference, unfortunately, the resolutions of that conference have not been implemented to date. But prophetically, we've heard that someday Nigeria will revisit those resolutions. For those of us, younger Ijaw boys and girls, he's a father, a mentor, a role model, and somebody we all look up to. And so today, as this book is presented in his honor, what can we wish him? He's not a man who is given to material things. For him, legacy is not about material acquisition. Unlike the kind of things we see these days, when young people are driven by greed to acquire everything, I don't know where they want to go with it. And so for me, and I speak for all young Ijaw men and women, all young South men and women, we wish our father long life, good health, and I know that we owe him a lot, but I make him a commitment. I make a commitment on behalf of the young people. We will not fail you, sir. We will carry on with your struggles until Nigeria is a better place for all. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Kuku. Peter side, Bill, I say the fire has been rekindled. And by the time you are 96, we'd like to see or hear how you sound. Thank you very much indeed. Now, the next goodwill speaker. Oh, okay, while we're doing that, I thought I saw a yellow flame at the corner of the house, and a hat, and they happen to be Professor Pat Utomi. Please, can we put our hands together for him? Nigeria professor of politics and management expert, is everywhere actually. The president we never had. Thank you so much, Pat, for coming. I'd also like to recognize Mrs. Adinke Giwa, representing Mr. Babatunde Rajifashola, yes? Mrs. Adinke Giwa, are you with us? Can we see you, please? Okay, the next person to give his goodwill message is none other than the current chairman of the NDDC, one of the most significant interventionist agencies in the Niger Delta, an attorney of many years, once with the Delta State government. Now, I think about the youngest chairman of NDDC. It's my pleasure to introduce Chief Chiedu Ebie. Please, can we put our hands together for him? You're not clapping enough. It's NDDC we're talking about. All right. Welcome. All right.
Well, first of all, Patrick, I'm not a chief, so yes. But maybe someday I may become a chief. Mr. Chairman, sir, very distinguished and eminent Nigerians. I stand here this late morning in two capacities. First of all, as a bona fide son of Pa Clark. Pa Clark and my late father, Professor John Ebie, served in the administration of the late General Ogbemudia. And so growing up in Benin, I knew him from my very young days. He was also very good friends with my late uncle, Fortune Ebie. And when my father passed in 1989, he stayed in touch with my mother, and so he kept an eye on us. And over time, he stayed in touch with me and watched as I progressed in life. The second flank of it is now as chairman of NDDC. And of course, NDDC as it is to a large extent synonymous with Pa Clark. The board was inaugurated last Thursday by the Honorable Minister, and ideally, I should have proceeded to Port Harcourt to convene and preside over the inaugural board meeting. But on Friday, whilst in Abuja, I went to see Pa Clark, as I always do. And when I get there, he says to me, "My son, come and sit here." And you're sitting right next to him. And he, amazed at 96, his memory is something else. He told me the story of how NDDC came into existence and the role they played and everything that transpired for it to come into existence. So I then said to him, "Sir, I understand that there's you're launching your autobiography on Tuesday," and he said yes. I said, "Well, I'm supposed to be going to Port Harcourt, but we will convene the inaugural board meeting after your book launch." That's the honor I could do to him. And so I leave here tomorrow to Port Harcourt, where we would hold our inaugural board meeting on Thursday. I also assured him that we will do our utmost best as the new board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Firstly, to work harmoniously as a team, because NDDC has always been synonymous with problems and differences between the board and the management. But this time around, we have given him our assurance that we're going to work as a team. We're going to do our very best to reposition the commission and to see how we can change the narrative. I pray for many more years of sound mind and health for Pa Clark, because we need him. I need him for as long as I continue to chair the board, because I need to tap from his wealth of knowledge and experience. And I hope that that will guide us and help us as we work to reposition NDDC. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, sir. All right, at this time, we'd like to take the next goodwill message from our father. elder statesman, patriot, nationalist, and Afenifere leader. And this is no other person than our father, Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Can we please keep the applause rolling for our father, Pa Ayo Adebanjo? We honor you, sir, and we revere you. Thank you for your presence today.
Well, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests.
Actually, sit down, sir.
Well, when I'm tired, I sit down. Okay. It's unfortunate, though, we lawyers, we are used to standing. However old, standing is our nature. My respect to everybody, particularly the special, one of the special permanent secretary that we ever had, P.C. Asioju. And of course, our indomitable Professor Akemi. I'm really happy to be here today because I missed the launching of this book at Abuja. The very day the book was being launched was the day I was admitted to the hospital for a surgery. I had already booked my accommodation in Abuja. We had paid for the hotel because I was to arrive the previous day. But unfortunately, I couldn't make it. It was a very painful occasion for me because Per Clark, my co-chairman of Southern Leaders and Middle Belt Forum, is a personality to behold. A nationalist, a patriot, a loyal, committed man to a united Nigeria. When you go through the book, you will see how a better Nigeria was until you get to this stage. And I will plead with the audience. The knowledge of Per Clark and my little self, please don't gamble with it. It's a compendium of what Nigeria was and what Nigeria we wish it to be. Per Clark is not just a nationalist by the road. It's not a convinced nationalist, a converted nationalist. When you read the book, you know that nationalism and patriotism is inborn, right down from the school. And I really said, reading through the book, he said when was the Commissioner of Education, when was in the primary school, he was able to move from one school to the other because there are many. Then I remember the good work of my leader. That was after we had built several schools under pre-primary education of the Action Group in the 1955 downwards, before he became the commissioner. So he said he could choose, he could go from one primary school to the other because there are many to choose. That was the record in those days. And there were primary schools where there are seats, where there are teachers, where the people are not sitting on the floor. Per Clark is a nationalist of no mean order. I came closer to him at the 2014 National Conference. We are on the same old row of old people. Himself, Akijide, thank you. Edwin Ajayi, myself, they gave us that honor to be in the front. And you see, the contribution, as Professor Akemi said, you could see knowledge and experience and patriotism in their contribution. And I may say, sir, those of you who are younger, who are likely to implement what Nigeria should be, don't play with 2014 National Conference. Whether you like it or not, Jonathan will go down in history as the best thing he did, in my own view, for setting up that conference. And I say publicly again, without any fear of contradiction, you can never get the composition of a conference as composed at that conference, again in Nigeria. It cuts across everybody. In intelligence, the judiciary, the youth, the all sorts, no matter, the Muslim, Christian, ideologue, and all sorts of. And we were lucky to have a chairman who managed delicate issues, as said by the professor. You can never get anything better, and if you do, and until you go back to it. And thank you, Professor Kemi. I listened to your program yesterday. The job for us in this country today is to see that right now, this constitution must be changed to federalism in accordance to 2014 National Conference. And you made the proposition which I've already been saying. Don't waste our money again by setting up any other conference. Take that report, take a refined report, set up a committee to reconcile, and we go where we are going. Any other thing is pretense. Any other thing is pretense. And anybody sincere about the unity of this country, about the progress of this country, don't tell me about any economic program until you change this constitution, you will go nowhere. And I urge you, and I beseech you, anybody who is a nationalist who loves this country today, particularly now to President Bola Tinubu, I am happy Professor Akemi is here, you are his friend. I am not his enemy, he is my son. The only difference is that we disagree politically. He's a loving young man. I have never asked for a favor that he has not given me. But the issue is, the question of this Nigeria to be together is something many of us like Clark as an inbound to. Even when Clark was following Dr. Azikwe under the unity form of government, incidentally, he was a Zikis like myself, but he was not converted. I was converted before him by Shifaolo to federalism. But he came back to it and has been advocating it in a way that if you miss it, God save you, Nigeria. We are grateful to Clark. When I have the privilege of being the co-chairman with him under Southern Leaders and Middle Belt Forum, you could see an epitome of knowledge and experience, how we manage delicate issues. And it was a privilege. Unfortunately, when we started Southern Leader Forum, the Northern group was not there. It was he. When you read the book, you see where he has been coming from OBJ. He said, OBJ said should invite people from the Northern group. I said, Northern element, they don't want to rule, they want to dominate. And I will not agree to domination. We invited them, they came in. What happened? They exposed themselves in 2019 when they don't agree with us to what we just agreed to support article for restructuring. They voted out. But I have told them earlier that the Northern Elder Forum, Professor Ango Abdullahi said earlier that once the North got into office in 2014, they will have it forever. I quoted it, he has not refuted it today. He said we should bring him in. I said, Northern Leaders and Middle Belt Forum is meant for those who agreed in a united Nigeria under federalism. It will not be all right. But Brian Clark said, no, let's bring that. I said, okay. If not, they will say this action group people are stubborn people. So they brought him in. But 2019, he expressed himself. We want everybody in Nigeria to be together, but we don't want any tribe to dominate the others. That is the difference. One of my best friends at this many Northerners, Skangiwa is what I know. And all those first-class people, this performance, MD Yusuf, those are good Northerners. Those Fulani, they are nationalists who believe in a united Nigeria under equal basis. That is the issue we must not shy off. Many of you live in denial. Let us persuade our northern element to agree that let us live together on equal basis. You can't attempt to dominate the rest of the country and you have peace. And until you agree to that, there will be no peace. And until you agree to what Clark is saying, to what Adebanjo is saying, to what those who believe in structuring is saying, you will never get peace. I thank Clark for this book, for what he has said there, for the leadership he has given this country, the young people in particular, and Nigeria in general. When you read the forward, you see the type of opinion that Gawan has of him. Of course, Gawan was a lucky man. He had a person like Clark in his cabinet, and I was there at that time. You can imagine that the success Gawan made, you can now know those who are behind it. So, congratulations to my co-chairman. Congratulations to the man. Nigeria must worship. Nigeria must respect for the good of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I think that you would say was the sermon of the day. And I think we can expect another book launch soon. The thoughts of Ayo Adebanjo. The man who, I don't think is 96 yet old, very, very close. He still has the fire. So if they still come after you, don't be too shocked. Even in your age, your fire has not in any way diminished. Thank you very much, sir. And with this, the young people should be enlightened, I think, and know that there's so much at stake that everybody should be interested. Thank you very much, sir. And earlier on, we did say that a yellow flame flashed, and we introduced him, but he was not quite sedentary at the time. Now he's passing the courteous rounds. I'd like to once again introduce Professor Pat Utomi, Nigerian politician, a management expert, and in fact, you can't call all his accolades. But he has 1 minute to talk to us. Prof, yes, they said so. I mean, I can Prof be here and not say a word. Then why are you a Prof? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Prof. Pat Utomi. 1 minute, sir.
Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thought I was sitting peacefully in one corner there, but now I have to say something. Really, truly, I subscribe to everything that Dr. Dakuku Peterside has said. And of course, my leader, Chifaya Adebanjo, knows also that we are together on these matters. I was actually just tweeting this morning, very early hours of this morning, and I said, what kind of society is it that can have elders who do not speak up? You know, Eleazar, the Jewish scribe, at 90, was forced. Just pretend that you are eating swine flesh, and it will go, we'll let you. And he says, no. Part of the challenge of Nigeria is that the elders keep quiet. What are they afraid of? But we are fortunate in elders like Pa Ike Clark and Pa Adebanjo. I was telling Professor Ladipo Afolabi, who, along with, well, I should have started mentioning all those I've been interviewing for my book, talking to a group of retired federal permanent secretaries, just by accident. I ran into that meeting in Abuja a few weeks ago. I was elated when the chair of that event, Alhaji Yayale Ahmed, said Nigeria made progress when it was a federal structure. And if Nigeria is going to make progress, we probably do need federalism. People make it an emotional thing. It's not emotional at all. It is the reality of the competition spirit. As a person who teaches business, it is competition that drives creativity, that drives effectiveness. And that was what happened in Nigeria's federal system. Until we can return to a true competitive federalism, these Americans, Howard Wolpe and Robert Melson, called it competitive communalism. Ethnic nationality groups competing over who will most bring progress to their people. Together, that drove Nigeria's ascendancy. Such that, and people forget this, and we talk about industrialization and all of that, which is what triggered Yayale Ahmed's response when I made that comment. That in 1960, a factory opened in Kaduna that had sold out first 6 months production to merchants in Manchester. We talk about export-led industrialization, we talk to the Asians. But in Kaduna right there, we had a factory that opened, selling out 6 months production in advance to merchants in the UK. And that company broke even in its first month of production. Nigeria has not performed like that in recent times because we do not have a federal structure. We must return to it if we're to make progress. And we thank people like Pa Adebanjo and Chief E.K. Clark for the work they have done in that regard. I thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you once again, sir. All right. At this time, we'd like to take another goodwill message from Chief Mrs. Nike Akande, a two-time minister of the Ministry of Industry. At almost 80, she's still energetic and elegant. Can we please keep the applause rolling for Chief Mrs. Akande? Can we please oblige her with the microphone? Thank you.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to be here this afternoon. When Papa Chief Clark phoned me and said, Nike, I'm launching the book in Lagos and I want you to be there. In fact, I already had an invitation for a program today, but I said, Papa, I will definitely be there. And I'm here today, Papa. I have known Papa for a few years. And I know members of his family as well. I knew his late brothers, the professor, the ambassador, and the younger sister was my classmate at Queen's School, at the now Queen's School, Ibadan. And Papa made an impression on me. I was honored to be a member of the National Conference of 1914. Our deputy chairman is here. Professor, you really gave us good program. Thank you. And Papa Adebanjo, who has known me since I was a young girl, he knows my uncle, he knows my husband, he knows every member of my family. Papa, I recognize you, sir. And there's so many people, even the chairman was a member of the National Conference, Senator Adefuye. And so many other people were members of the National Conference. Papa Clark is a great achiever. You've heard a lot about him today. He has touched many lives in many positive ways. He has impacted the lives of many people. His life has been that of service and honor. I'm happy to have been associated with Papa, and it is my pleasure to be here today. And I will tell my husband, who is also a lawyer and has a lot of respect for Papa, that I'm here, and I will buy some books for him. Papa, I wish you longer life, coupled with good health, and you will continue to mentor us in this country. Although I'm not a young lady as such, but at least I can still be mentored by Papa Clark. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, two-time Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And thank you for sharing your experiences and saying that Pa Ayo knows you to the kitchen. Thank you so much indeed. Now, not to bore everybody, I think we've done enough talking. And, you know, all are here for the book launch. You want to know what the book is all about and so on. But please remember, they say that when you want to hide something from a Nigerian, you put it into a book, because Nigerians don't read. But I say today, what's in this book will be exposed for everyone to see, because the issues are like burning in everybody's heart. And that is what we have seen in the speeches of the elders and the young Niger Deltans who have come here to address us. Now it's time to unveil the book presentation. And it will be done by, who? What's his name again? The book presentation will be done by His Highness Ephraim Falohi, yes. C-O-O-N. It's O-O-N. Order of the Member of the Niger, okay. Please, His Highness Ephraim Salohi, please. Falohi, please. That's a strange name.
I have known Patrick Oke for so many years when he was in NTA. And for him to be brutally frank about mistakenly manage my name is very unfortunate. So I say he's being brutally frank. It's misspelling my name. Before I go on to present this book, there are one or two things I want to say about our father. I will just not going to present the book. I remember years ago, unfortunately, Alabo Graham Douglas passed away. Pa Clark called us, himself, Alabo Graham Douglas, myself, and Ambassador Igali.
Already. So
Then we used to have meeting as the South-South with the northern elements in Nigeria. Then Olusola Saraki, late Olusola Saraki, was leading the northern element, while Pa Clark was leading the element of the South-South, with a view that the presidency must go to the South. And we were going back and forth, but he started it. And suddenly, out of the blues, the presidency fell on our laps through our father, General Olusegun Obasanjo, who picked up Jonathan as his vice. We were all involved and so on. So we were not expecting the presidency to come to us so soon, to the South, to the Ijaw nation. And suddenly, he picked up Jonathan, and I may be bold to say today, I think Elder Yaradua was not too well, was not too, health-wise, he has a problem. And I think the whole idea was Jonathan, being a younger man, would take over. And I remember Jonathan saying, Chief, please talk to them now. Let them leave me alone and let me leave me as a governor. Let me stay as a governor. We said, no, you will be there. And of course, unfortunately, when Yaradua passed on, you all know the struggle for him to take over as president. It was also difficult. And he became president. So we owe the Ijaw nation, I make bold to say we owe President Obasanjo for that single element of choosing Jonathan to be the president of Nigeria from the South-South, and a Ijaw man. It wouldn't have happened, maybe in another 50 years. So I'm being brutally frank now also. Well, I don't know any of you who have read this book, but I think when our father has spoken, and of course I remember Pa Adebanjo in those days when they used to come for a meeting in Bayelsa, and he was always brutally frank. He would speak out. At times we get scared. We younger ones used to get scared. But thank you, sir, for standing with us, for brutally frank about Nigeria's situation. As we all said, if that Constitutional Conference recommendations are not taken seriously, Nigeria is not going anywhere. And on Friday, I clocked 80, and what am I afraid of? I need to speak out. We need to speak out. There's nothing to be afraid anymore. So we the younger ones to our fathers, also need to speak out. As Patutomi said, we have nothing to fear, and we continue to speak out. In view of that, I present this book to you, brutally frank, ladies and gentlemen. It's worth for you to have it in your companies, in your libraries, in your schools, and so on. I present this book with 10 copies for 500,000 naira. Thank you. So, please, do not fail to buy it. Let it be in your companies. Thank you.
Can you kindly join Chief Holloway to take a group photograph and present the book? Our fathers and our mothers in the front, and the representative of the Oba of Lagos State. And the chairman of today's occasion, our fathers and our mothers seated in front. Can you kindly join Chief Holloway to present the book and for a group photograph?
Okay. 1, 2, 6, 6. Okay. In case it goes off.
Yeah. Okay, while that is going on, please, we've had so many goodwill messages, and you know what they say, you can have the National Award MON without EY, and it's not complete. So we hope that all the goodwill wishes will be followed by donations or the launching of the book. And in that regard, we'd like to thank Gimba Emmanuel, High Chief Victor Emonina of Wireless Group, who has given us 5 million. C.N. Okugbe, who has given us 2 million. A.J. Ate, who has given us 1 million. And Ebilate Mark Yoroki, who has given us another 1 million. Please, people will be going around with, the slips which you can sign and send back, or you can donate to the Edwin Kiagbodo Clark Foundation, Zenith Bank, 101-359-9271. That number will pass around soon for those who want to do remote offerings. You can also buy the book right here and, give to your friends, relatives, or who on. 15,000 for the soft copy, 20,000 for the hard copy. You can buy it now. We take promissory notes. Hey. Oh, no. I'm coming to see.
Here, they have a POS, so they can pay.
Zenith Bank has POS right here. Zenith Bank has POS right here, which you can use in the, top left, right corner of the hall.
No, the chicken nose.
That's proper chicken.
They said they didn't get the permission from the office.
And they were mentioning his name and live on TV.
I sat down right from there. Somebody's lunching. Let me get it there.
What do you want? Oh, okay. One of Nigeria's football administrators wants to launch the book. Amaju Pinnick wants to launch the book. Okay. Mr. Pinnick wants to launch the book for us. But if you go and draw with Zimbabwe again, you will not launch any book. Eh? You can't draw with Zimbabwe again. I know.
Yeah, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a very rare privilege for me to be standing here. First, before I do my small launching of this book, I would like to speak very laconically about Chief Edwin Clark, who was a very, very dear and very close friend of my late father. I'm happy because today I served as president of Nigerian Football Federation for 8 years. And one of the persons that stood 100% by me in ensuring that I went the right way was Chief Edwin Clark. I owe him quite a lot. I knew him from birth. And it goes beyond the narrow confines of the Ijaw nation. It goes beyond the narrow confines of the Delta State. It goes beyond the narrow confines of also Niger Delta. And I believe God Almighty is keeping him alive for a purpose. He has been fighting for too many people. He's always fighting for the downtrodden, for the oppressed. And he also fought COVID and won COVID. So I am very thankful and I'm very happy that I have this privilege of at least showing him a bit of gratitude. So I'll be buying 150 of these books for all the universities in the Niger Delta. I'm not going to make any pronouncement. He's somebody that is so dear to me, dear to my family. Through the Brown Hill Foundation, we are going to buy about 150 and send to most universities in Niger Delta. I don't think we have more than 150 universities in Niger Delta because they need to study the physical encyclopedia that captures the totality of what Chief Clark stands for. I know we are going to still have him around for the next 10, 20 years. And like I said, God is keeping him alive for a purpose. Keeping him alive possibly to help this current government in shaping this country. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
A 150 copies for the schools in the Niger Delta. Please, let's put our hands together for Mr. Pinnick. Thank you very much indeed. Please, more launchings, more physical launchings needed. You know, event like this, I mean, this Shell Hall is just smiling to see the caliber of dignitaries that are here, and the hall would like to mark your presence. More launchers, please come forward to launch, please.
The book Brutally Frank. It's a book you must read. It's available. A copy is 15,000 naira for the e-copy. The soft copy is 15,000 naira, but the hard copy is 20,000 naira.
I'm not a chief. Mr. Emeka Ogoju. I'm currently the chairman board of trustees, Southeast South Professionals. When I was the president, Denzel Kentebe was my deputy. So I'm here. I was at the Abuja book launch to collect some copies on behalf of all the members of the board of trustees, Southeast South Professionals, and all the members of the ESCO. So I think Denzel will do the rest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emeka. It's been also very prominent in the struggle to bring up professionals in the Southeast, and has not relented over many years. We hope your efforts are bringing some fruits, Emeka. More luncheons, please. And the Zenith Bank crew is in the corner in case you want to use your POS to do this. You can buy the books from here. And we're still open to more launchers because the hard copy, 20,000, soft copy, 15,000. For the panel, more launchings required, please.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Please, I stand on all of duly observed protocols. My name is Mrs. Patricia Edemadida Adomi. Papa called me that I should come and launch his book, so I need to be here for him to see me, so that he doesn't scold me, because he can be brutally frank on all levels. So I'm launching 4 of this brutally frank book with 100,000 for me and his son, Kenneth Edemadide. I'm Patricia Edemadide. Papa, we love you. Continue to be brutally frank. Thank you so much. Yeah.
While that is going on, please, I'm told that this is refreshment time. The first 3 rows in front have a buffet. They will be led by the ushers to the buffet points. Then after that, consequent levels behind will be told what to do. The first 3 rows in front have the buffet. What's the name?
My name is Dr. Tony Akpokene.
Dr. Akpokene of the Booksellers Association of Nigeria would like to launch the book, Brutally Frank.
Okay, my name is Dr. Tony Akpokene. I'm the PRO of Booksellers Association of Nigeria. I will represent booksellers all over Nigeria, and many of us are representatives of book publishers, Cambridge, Oxford, Penguin, Jawali, name them all. And we also take books from authors and we distribute them all over Nigeria. So on behalf of Booksellers Association, I will represent booksellers all over Nigeria, and many of us are representatives of book publishers, Cambridge, Oxford, Penguin, John Wiley, name them all. And we also take books from authors and we distribute them all over Nigeria. So on behalf of Booksellers Association of Nigeria, we want to launch this book with just 100,000 naira. We are booksellers, we don't get money, so we manage ourselves. So we'll launch it with 100,000 naira. God bless you.
General Tone, on behalf of Ijob professionals, would like to launch the book.
Gentlemen and ladies, and all protocols observed, I represent the Ijob Elders Forum and the chairman, Chief Bukasi Etete, who is unavoidably absent, has asked me to launch 5 copies of the book for 100,000 naira for the association. I'm also representing the Ijob Professionals Association. We're launching the book, 5 copies of the book, again for another 100,000 naira. And personally too, as one of the sons of Pa Clark, I, Major General Tom, will also like to launch the book personally, 5 copies for 50,000 naira. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, right now, discovered that our father, Chief Clark...
All right, if you're just joining us, you're still watching Arise News. We are live in Lagos with the launching of Edwin Clark book reading and presentation. It's been an uneventful scenario where a lot of eulogies and, of course, qualities of the man Edwin Clark has been highlighted at this launch. And, of course, what you're currently watching is people making pledges towards the purchase of the book, and of course it's for a worthy cause, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, very well attended with some of the most influential personalities in the country. Just to name a few, Koforola Bokno Akerele, former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, also spoke. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, former Minister for External Affairs, Dakuku Peterside, former DG of NEMASA, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, Afenifere leader, and Professor Pat Utomi, former presidential candidate, and Nike Akonde, former Minister of Industry, just to name a few of the luminaries who have graced this occasion to celebrate this monumental occasion of the launch of the book titled Brutally Frank by Pa Edwin Clark, of course, who is a luminary.
You're watching Newsday. We're back to the Edwin Clark book reading presentation, Brutally Frank. Stay with us.
To reconstruct that school and to demonstrate his faith in the school, he had to go to St. Teresa's College in Delta and withdrew his daughter, who was in Form 4, Rebecca Clark, now Becky Okorodudu, to study there. That shows that he believes in what he was doing there. And Chief Clark, in his typical way, didn't set out to go do that. He actually went with his boss, late General Samuel Osagbavo Bemudia, to see General Gowon at Dodam Barracks when they dropped the 3 R's. And, you know, he latched on it to touch human life. And he didn't just do that. He recruited a lot of teachers from the East to teach in Midwest, being the Commissioner for Education in Midwest, that way to help rehabilitate them, to alleviate their suffering, so that they can have means of livelihood. You recall too in the book, he led people to donate to UNN, University of Nigeria and Nsukka. And that was how he also set up University of Benin. And he got the pioneer staff from UNN and other places. That's to show his commitment to one Nigeria. And I think that he's more of a humanist than the commentator people see him. My generation, we just see him that he comments on national issues, but he's more of a humanist. He's a bridge builder. He believed in one Nigeria, including the minorities, you know, in different parts of the country. So it's not just a leader to the South-South. He's a nationalist and a patriotic Nigeria who wanted a better Nigeria for all.
Thank you very much. Professor Abigail Ogwezi. Yes, true. A nationalist, somebody who wanted a better Nigeria, who wants a better Nigeria. Now, but his base has been the South-South. Now, how do you reconcile that with his position on the national question, restructuring Nigeria, for instance? Professor Akaini, yes.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. I think it is important that to state clearly that the national question refers to those issues bedeviling the Nigerian state. But of course, we've come to reduce it to the question of the rightfulness of the unit. That's the state structure of the country in terms of what we call genuine federalism in Nigeria. And I think that the book reveals some of the dynamics, not just the dynamics, but his viewpoints and the viewpoints of those who want Nigeria restructured. Now, he articulated a position that appeared to be that of the Niger Delta. But in that position, there are salient points. Not only that, the rightfulness of the unit in terms of restructuring the Nigerian state be carried out. He wanted autonomy, you know, for the states. But he didn't quite choose states, regions or provinces. He preferred that the structure of the Nigerian state should continue as states. But of course, autonomous states within the Nigerian, federation. Now, beyond that, he went further to focus on physical federalism, where he talks about the need, for resource control. Resource control in ways that states can have access to their resources. And it takes us back to the post-independent Nigeria and even pre-independence, when we had revenue allocation formulas that were, of course, preferred and, heading for the Federation, such as the Hicks, Commission that recommended 100%, derivation. Those issues were contained there. And the argument is that justice demands, that the federated states should have access, to their resources for development, of their people. I need to point out one point, which I think is still very sticky today. He preferred a two-state, a two-tier state structure for Nigeria. The reason why this is important is that today, the minders of the Nigerian state are trying to reify a three-tier structure for Nigeria by making the local government a third-tier third-tier unit of the Nigerian state. I think that he argued brilliantly that local government should be the creation of the federated states, not as a tier, of the Nigerian state, underlining thereby the injustice in the current structure of the local government in the country, where a state like Kano has 44 local governments, Lagos has, 20. And so, local government were created to allow for accumulation of resources, by the hegemons of this country. And so, I think we need to take that seriously because it's still a point at issue today in terms of the structure of the Nigerian state.
Yes, thank you. Well, the debate is on. Nigeria needs to be restructured, and that is what Senator E.K. Clark had always stood for. Now I'm going over to Canada, to Dr. Agbai. You have referred to him as a statesman in our discussion. You've also called him as an advocate for the minorities and the oppressed. You want to speak further on that and how that is captured in the book so that you can stimulate the minds of our audience, let them go and read. Yes, Dr. Agbai.
Yes, thank you. Having worked in the oil and gas industry for a period, I can, and as somebody from the Niger Delta, I can associate myself with Paike Clark and the various stands he has taken about the minorities. We have also talked about how he fought for Jonathan and the South-South question. We also talked about in the book how he brought the middle belt to the equation in the last election. And Padebanjo has also alluded to the fact how minorities came together under Paike Clark. And now he has been talking the book described him as one part, Patrick Oke also alluded to that, one part an Urobo man, and a Shakiri man, an Isoko man, and a Ijaw man. So this is no longer a tripod. It's a four-leg table, has shown that he becomes a unifier and carrying this same blood of the minorities and speaking on the national stage means that he's translating whatever the grievances of the minority into the national discourse. And you can see that he also in the book, he alluded to the minorities in the north. And now he has reached out to those people to ensure that their voices are heard. And a lot of people anchored on the Jonathan presidency because he was a minority. And Paike Clark documented how he also midwifed that process. So in speaking for the minority, he was also speaking for the larger Nigeria because most of the wealth we celebrate today come from the Niger Delta. And Paike Clark alluded to that we need to have a justiciable society. And a justiciable society is a society that is fair to all. Because if the minorities have their own take, I live in Canada, somebody owns the oil well, and we agree to that. Every time, whenever we want to speak, we speak about the owners of the land. The owners of the oil are from Niger Delta. And in this conversation between him and our former president, Obasanjo, about who owns the oil well, and he was fair to balance his discussion when he gave both of them the he gave both his what he responded and what he did. Obasanjo also said, and how those people ensured that they came together. So I think that his discourse as a minority is also the discourse of Nigeria, and he stated that more in the book. And I encourage people to read the book because I am amazed in the last 1 month reading this 668-page book. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Time is fast spent. I would like to thank our audience for their patience. I want to thank our discussants for dissecting the book. And please get a copy and read. Please, a round of applause for our discussants. Lively, lively, lively. And a round of applause for our audience. Where is the MC? Yes, we'll take our leave now. Those vibrant Ijaw dancers outside are being invited to thrill us for about 10 minutes before we take our leave. I'm doing your job, MC. We'll share some of the...
Thank you very much. I'm most grateful. All right. That was an amazing session, enlightening. Can we please give them another round of applause?
All right, you're still watching the Edwin Clark book reading and presentation, and a host of speakers have given their views on the book so far, and of course on the man Edwin Clark on the book Brutally Frank.